What's up, YouTube? Just wanted to do another video because got a job I had to do and I was looking for another way to do it, but didn't really find much online as usual. So I try to make videos for the cars that nobody really works on or makes videos for. Today we're working on a 2010 Mazda CX-9 POS edition. These cars are pure junk, so I highly advise not buying one. You want a good car, get a Honda Pilot. That is a tank. Very dependable, reliable. Anyway, you came here for Mazda, so let's get to this junk. Alternator. Okay. First thing you do, unplug your battery, of course. That's obvious with electrical stuff. Then you want to take your jacket up, take your wheel off, and put on a jack stand. Next step, you want to take off your air box, which is... It was 2 bolts for this piece here. 2 bolts for this piece here. 1, 2. Take those out. And there was one right here. One there. And then it just has a little notch on the bottom. Those 2 little notches, just pop it out, wiggle it out of those. Those 2 little holes here, wiggle it out, just pops right out of those. And slide it off the tube. Easy peasy. Next step, you want to remove your wire harness here. Has a bunch of little tabs on it, these little things. I just broke them because I don't really care about them. I can get some more. The little tabs, you take a pair of needle those pliers and just pop them right out. I would believe there was 6 of them, I want to say. But anyway, that's pretty self-explanatory anyway. Next thing is remove your fan. Now the fan has 4 bolts on top. There's 4 on top and 4 on the bottom. Take that out. Then you have a transmission cooler line on the bottom that attaches to the bottom with 2 little tab things you have to pull out too. 2 of those. Pull those 2 out. Your radiator hose, the big radiator hose, I forgot, what is that, the upper or the lower? That is the, which one is that? I want to say upper, yeah, I guess it's upper. No, it's the lower one. Your lower one snaps into here on one of these little things. I think mine fell on the floor somewhere. But just unclip that, the little clip type thing deal. These, you can leave them plugged up. I unplugged them just by accident. Those are to your fans. You have one big one here for the fan motor. Well, the fan relay or whatever this is. Unplug that big one, that big clip there, that big hose there, big plug there. Unplug that. Then it was, what else was it? It was something else. The other hose goes through here, the little smaller hose. It just slides in place though. And I think that was it for the fan. I mean, you'll see it once you get in there. The fan's really not that hard. Kind of tight at the bottom, but not really that hard to remove it overall. Then, once the fan's out, you have clear room, so pull out your alternator. Right here. While everything's unplugged, the battery, of course, unplug your wire harness. Can you focus? There we go, a little bit. Unplug your wire harness here. Just push, clip, pull it out. Then you have a 12mm nut on the power wire. Unscrew that, take that off here. Then you have the fun part of removing the belt. That was pretty much of a disaster. I tried using the flat tool, the little serpentine belt tool thingy. That really didn't work. The top part ended up breaking off on me because there's 2 holes to put the serpentine belt tool in. 2 little squares, 3/8 drive squares. The top one broke off. You probably can't see it down there. But the top one broke off. So I had to go to the bottom. I was able to lower the engine by unbolting the motor mount, which is the only way I could get in there. There's 4 bolts on the motor mount, 2 there and 2 there. I had to end up removing those. And I put the engine on a jack with a block of wood to lower it down about maybe an inch and a half, as far as I could go. because the CVX starts to hit the frame right here, so it couldn't go any further. If it had went down another 2 inches, it would have been perfect, because I could have just stuck a ratchet right in there. But what I ended up doing, you might find a different way, but what I ended up doing, what worked for me, was putting a ratchet in there upside down with the handle facing up, and then putting a piece of pipe on there. I used my jack handle bar on the end of the ratchet and then turned it back, and I got it wedged against the engine and the frame right now to release the tension, and I slipped the belt off. That was the easiest way I could do it. I wrestled with it for a good 30-45 minutes before I could get it off. That is a disaster. These cars, again, are junk. They're very hard to work on. But anyway, once the belt's off, you have one bottom screw, bottom bolt here. You don't have to remove it all the way because it's going to hit the wall here. It's going to hit the wall, so it's not going to come all the way out. So you just have to unbolt it because this side has a little notch right there. The alternator sits on that notch. Alternator just pulls right out. So unpull it out halfway because the other side is a hole. Once you pull it out of that hole, this notch just sits on top of that notch. That's all. So it doesn't really need to be pulled all the way out, the bolt. But once that's off, you go to the top. The top one is easy. The top bolt is easy. They're both 14 millimeters. And you can use a ratchet on the top one, move these lines and stuff out of the way, AC lines. Don't bend them too much because you'll ruin your AC. And this one right here is a coolant for the reservoir, so definitely don't break that off, that little plastic nipple on there. But anyway, the top bolt for the alternator is easy. Just take it off with a 14 and a socket. Easy peasy. Pull that right out. You can pretty much just loosen it up and then twist it the rest of the way by hand. But once that's done, people are saying, I saw a video online where a guy had to remove the whole radiator and all that. You don't have to do all that. That was just way too much work. That video was a disaster. But all you have to do is remove the fan. The radiator's still in there, as you can see. Still in the car. I didn't take it out at all. I'm not going through all that just to remove a alternator. I know these cars are poorly designed, but anyway. Once you take those two bolts out, you just rock it back and forth a little bit to get it off that mounting place it's on. It's a little awkward with one hand, but I can get it. There we go. Take it off. And then pull it straight through the top. Easy peasy. I know why this one went bad, because the guy needs to change his valve cover gaskets. It's leaking oil all on it. It's got oil all on it. But anyway, this really wasn't that hard of a job like people say it is, but the only thing that was hard really was getting that belt off. I think the tensioner on this car is a little bit seized up a little bit because it was a little bit tight to just rotate it to get it off. It didn't really want to come right off. But I ended up getting it, found a way to do it. You got to be able to think on the fly. That's what that years of experience comes into play at. But anyway, putting it back on is reverse of removal, which is pretty much self-explanatory. The way you took it off, put it back on the same way. Alternator first, connect the wires, the positive cable, then put the belt back on and all that. And, then your fan and your wires and all that stuff. And you got it good. You're good to go. Hook up your coolant hoses. I had a little bit of coolant leak out, so you have to refill that back up. Probably, I wouldn't even say maybe a quart or two, if that. Leaked that a little bit. I'm gonna dry all that off, but it's no big deal. This is that line I was talking about down here that was on the bottom of the radiator fan assembly. These two little tabs, you just gotta wiggle them out, and they come right out. Oh, and one more thing. There was the other transmission line had two 10 millimeter bolts on it. Right here. Right here, and then down here. But those are easy to get to, pretty easy to get to. Take those out, you're good to go. This is that fan plug here for your fan assembly. Move this out of the way. I put it up on this. I sat it up on this. And then this box here got it all out of the way. And the fan just comes right out. It's not really that hard to get to. But these are terrible cars, terrible design. It's made by Ford, so you know how that goes. If the water pump ever goes out, it's going to be probably $2,000 or $3,000. And I heard if it goes out, it can damage the engine at the same time. So you definitely want to not buy one of these cars if you can avoid it. that water pump goes out and damages the engine, you're probably going to spend thousands of dollars getting this car fixed. And the car ain't even worth that much. Because it's in the timing chain. You got to take the time and the timing cover off and go through all that. It's probably just... Ugh. It's not a job you can do at your home. Not a DIY job. But anyway. If you have any questions or anything I left out, just leave it in the comments. But this is the only way I can explain it the best way, because I've seen a lot of videos. Well, I saw like 2 videos. Not really a lot. They were just... One was a shaky camera and one was removing the whole radiator, which was too much work. Unnecessary work. But try to give you guys an easy way to do this. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Don't forget to click like for me. Peace.